This was defined by Martin Christensen, but it's based on the work of Jim and Michel McCarthy on the core protocols, and then on the protocol stack for building great teams that Mr. Kasperowski defined. So let's look at the name of this. So core. Core is the foundation for the healthy team culture. That's what we're looking for. And protocol is a set of guidelines on how you exchange information between different parties. And what we're basically going to talk about is human-to-human communication. And that's basically it. So where can you apply this? On your teams, between different teams, or on the whole organization? There's a warning before I go through with this. You're going to feel or you're going to think about a few things while I'm presenting, which is common sense, or I already do this, or I'm hungry, or why do you think we need to formalize this stuff? And it's normal that you feel that. And taking that into account, let's move on to the first protocol, which is the law of 2 feet. Anyone knows what law of 2 feet is?
For football?
Not for football. So if you're in a meeting or an event and you're not learning anything, or you feel you're not contributing to it at all, you have 2 feet, you're free to walk away. No one will judge you. And that's totally fine. Later you might speak to people about why you left, and you might need to figure out ways for you to participate. But this is the law of 2 feet, and this applies to this moment as well. So if you folks feel you're not learning anything, it's fine. No one will judge you. It's completely fine. Okay. So these are different layers. There's a stack, and like all stacks, you need the first layer to be achieved in order to achieve the subsequent layers. All right, so we'll go through to the 5 of these stacks on this presentation. And the first one is positive bias, which is all about having a positive intention, a positive conversation on your group. So there's one principle there, which is say yes, and it has everything to do with having a positive mindset when you listen, when you answer, when you speak to people, and the way you interpret things that people say. So there's a protocol for that, which is the no negation, non-negativity. And again, it's all about be positive to people's arguments and use positive words. Even if you feel that that person is wrong, there's no need to punish them, but you can coach them and you can talk to people about, what are they saying, and lead the conversation in that direction. The next layer is freedom, and has everything to do with people having free will and not feeling that they need to be at a certain place at a certain time, just because. So the principle, as I mentioned, is the law of 2 feet. And again, if you're not learning or contributing, you can use your 2 feet, go somewhere else where you're more productive. And the protocol is checkout. So if you're present, you should be engaged. If you can't, don't negatively influence people by being on your phone or looking at a wall or yawning. Just leave. It's fine. Everyone should accept that checkout. You might mention if you want to return or not. Next layer is awareness, and it has everything to do with how we are feeling, how we are on this day. Because if you do that, it's very easy to align with other people. Principle is listen to yourself. And it's basically being aware of your current state and your motivation. The protocol for this is check-in, in which you come in one morning, you say, hey, I don't feel too well, I didn't sleep well last night, I'm in a bit of a pain on my knee, something like that, and then just tell that to people. They will be much more mindful of your state and the way they speak to you during the day, because you were just straightforward with them on how you feel. And it's fine, everyone has bad days, right? So this is something that that is quite normal to happen, and we just need to accept it and understand each other. The 4th layer is connection.
Shit out of me.
And it's all about how you communicate and how you connect with other people. Principle is listening to others and actually understanding what people are saying And for that, one of the protocols is to investigate. And this what this protocol says is that you should ask open and neutral questions to people, not negative ones. Try to be a neutral interviewer without giving your opinion, and really try to understand why people are saying those things and what do those things really mean, not just for yourself, but for anyone else that is part of that conversation. There's another protocol. There's several protocols in these layers, so I'm only presenting a few. You can check others later. The next one is intention check. And when you think about intention check, it has everything to do with when someone says something, it might be misinterpreted. So I truly believe that most people in this world have good intentions when they do things, but sometimes they have wrong motivations, which doesn't mean that it's a positive attitude, what they're saying or what they're trying to do. They might just have a weird motivation, or they might be speaking in a second language, not their natural language, which means that they might have formulated a certain sentences in different ways. So again, try, ask people, what was really your intention? What is behind what you just said? Most likely you'll be clarified of a very positive intention from that person, and you'll be able to convey the conversation in a really positive tone. The last one is productivity, the last layer. So if all the other layers are really working well, then we can have tools that allow us to be even more productive. One principle, the principle on this is focusing on results, because of course we need to get faster and reduce costs on how we produce value. One protocol is decider, which is, there's a lot of text there. It's basically when as a group you need to decide something, you don't speak about it, you just vote immediately. So you do thumbs up if you approve, neutral if you don't have an opinion, or thumbs down if you need to speak further about it. And then if there's one vote like that, then you can stop and you can speak a bit about it. The purpose here is to immediately try to get a decision. I know this sounds a bit weird and sometimes you need to speak about things. But the purpose here is to spend time on decisions which are tough. Because sometimes the decisions are already made. In 5 seconds we can just move on. And the next protocol is the perfection game, which is, for example, when you're in a meeting and you want to know how people felt about that meeting or how you felt about this presentation, you can ask people, okay, I would rate this a number out of 5, and then for this to be a 5, I was expecting, or I would like this, and that to happen. So this keeps the feedback really short, but straight to the point. This was my classification of this event, or what just happened, and this is what I want it to be like if it would be perfect. So there you go. You have all the layers here: positive bias, freedom, self-awareness, connection, and productivity. If you eventually forget or you want to present this to anyone, there's one last protocol, which is protocol check, in which you present this to anyone that hasn't been introduced to these core protocols. So what can you do now? You're aware, you can discuss it with your team, you can explore other protocols, you can practice them and adapt them to your context. And that's it. Questions? Sounds very common sense, huh? No questions?
Actually, not
Yeah.
really. Are you applying this or trying to?
I'm trying to apply it. Yeah.
I was going to comment that
It's an everyday
that this comes naturally to you.
Yeah.
The way you probably have a conscious effort when you're talking to regarding some of these. So this is one of those cases that seems like it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep this in mind at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he keeps doing that because it seems to be a
Read this as a mantra every day. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's definitely not.
No, I'm kidding. I think it's auto-regulating in the sense that it's not just you doing it, it's everyone else, and then you'll get aware of some conversations and you will act, but on others you won't. But other people next to you will, and they will help you out. So it's not doing it by yourself, it's actually doing it with the group of people. Obviously, lead by example is good, but if everyone is aware and tries to practice it, then you can compensate, just like pairing, right? It's the same thing.
So it's not easy to do, but it's easier to do in a group. When everyone's
I would say it makes it easier if there's a compromise, if there's a commitment from people to actually practice it and do it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Really good question.